Welcome to A Double
Double
and Dice
with your host Kim.
and Jocelyn.
Pour your favorite beverage,
Pull up a comfy chair.
because we are ready to roll. Welcome to episode 58 of A Double, Double, and Dice, and today we are featuring another female character in Dice Masters, right, Kim?
Yay!
And that character is...
Raven.
Ooh, exciting.
Yes, Raven from, of course, DC, my favorite. But
Yeah,
we
so
did do a Marvel last time, so.
Yeah, and you can definitely tell that it was Kim that made the selection.
Yes, that's why Jocelyn started off today. And
That's
this
right.
was a surprise for her because she didn't know what the character was.
Yeah, and Kim's like, you didn't even see it on the sheet? And I'm like, no, I completely scrolled past it because I had no idea. Like, I did not look at the sheet. I was like closing my eyes, scrolling down to put in our comments for our mailbag later. So,
Dice bag.
yeah, that's what I meant, dice bag. And yeah, and huge thanks to Kim, huge props to Kim for taking the extra work of doing the research on the character and picking the character this week because I have had a cray work week. I can't even talk.
Can't even say work.
Yeah, so that's kind of where we're at. And Kim, why don't you tell us about Raven?
Yeah, sure. So I'll do as good as Jocelyn does. So information was taken from the DC fandom site. So I think this is Raven talking New Earth Raven. Now I didn't see a year or anything in that, so I have no idea what New Earth is. But I'm sure someone will tell us. So Raven, also known as Rachel Roth, I believe that's how it's pronounced. She is a superhero with magical abilities, and she's pretty much a main character or main member in Teen Titans. And she's a empathic. She can teleport. She can send herself out of her soul, so pretty much she probably becomes a spirit, I guess, and she can pretty much fight physically, manifest a force field, manipulate objects and others, as with telekinesis, as well as her soul self can be her eyes and ears when she's away from her body. So she's got actually a lot of abilities and power. So she's actually, I didn't even know she was that. So I learned as I went today too. She has a special equipment that she uses called a chakra. So it pretty much, I don't know what actually it is. I think it's the robe that goes over her or something, maybe. I don't know.
Okay.
But it helps to control the darker passions of her soul self. So I don't know. It didn't say what it was. So I'm sure someone will tell us.
It is a crystal.
Oh, it's a crystal.
Yeah, it's mounted on her forehead.
Ah, there you go.
It helps keep her powers under control.
There you go. And guess what? She's not married.
No?
No, she's single.
Is she a scientist?
No, she's we'll get to it, but she's not like a career driven. She's like a school student. I think she's young.
Okay.
Yeah. So no, well, maybe there's some tragedy. Let's see. So she was actually born half-breed. So she's half human. Mother named Angela, and her father was a demon overlord, Emperor Trigon.
Ooh.
I know, kind of creepy. So she was conceived when her mother ran away from home and joined a cult, which then summoned the demon Lord Trigon, who, this is sad, who raped her.
So, she was the product of a rape? That is not a very good origin story.
So this guy ain't not good.
Well, he is a demon overlord, so that gave us the first hint.
Yeah. All right. So eventually she learned that Trigon was planning to come to her dimension, and pretty much she vowed to stop him because, she's good, he's evil. Mm-hmm. She was initially approached by the Justice League, but she approached the Justice League, but they refused her. Zatanna refused her because she kind of sensed that she was kind of demonic in her. Mm-hmm. So I guess she can sense her spirit or whatnot. So in desperation, because she obviously needed help to fight her father, she reformed the Titans, as they call it, the new Teen Titans, to help her fight her father.
Okay, so she built a team.
Yep. Teen Titans Go, which is also a TV show. So the team was eventually was able to defeat Trigon, and they put him in an interdimensional prison. However, she still was fighting, her father's influence, and so he wasn't completely gone or destroyed or whatnot. Or I guess the cult was still around. So eventually, her father did escape, came to Earth, and over the course of like a few months or so, he started to take over control of Raven's body, or Raven herself, eventually corrupting her completely.
Well, that's sad.
So,
That's
which
not what
ended that
dads
the
are supposed
Teen
to do.
Titans had to do something not so nice and had to kill Raven.
Aw.
So this allowed the Titans to use her, kind of like her as a channel to kill Trigon. She was presumed dead, Raven, but she actually rose from the ashes of the battle, and she was finally purged of her evil father from her.
Ooh, so
So
she's like the phoenix rising from the ashes.
yeah, right. Yeah, rose from ashes of the battle, it
Mm-hmm.
said. And then eventually she vanished, and then her mother went looking for her. So I'm guessing this. I don't know when this happened, but Raven was captured by something, or another cult, or part of her father's cult called Brother Blood.
Okay.
Okay, so it's like a super villain to the Teen Titans.
All right.
So she was captured by them, and they were trying to. I think Nightwing was a part of this too. I think they were trying to resurrect or something through Nightwing. So someone can explain that story to me, because it really wasn't clear. Um, so eventually, the Teen Titans came back. They rescued both of them, so Nightwing and Raven, and they pretty much prevented the Brother Blood people from returning. Um, Raven got a new white cloak, which represents her being free from her father's influence.
Nice.
So I'll have to take a look at those art and see if we see anything cool like that. So later on, now there was another version of Raven appeared. This time she was an evil Raven. So she had like an evil conscious, and she came to pretty much implant seeds of her father's children into new bodies. She crashed a wedding of, I didn't know these two were married or was going to get married, Dick Grayson and Starfire.
Ooh.
Starfire has a name, but I don't know her actual name. Um, so she actually implanted one of the seeds into Starfire. But instead of implanting something evil, she actually implanted the seed of good Raven. So, which caused Starfire to leave Earth in order to escape from evil Raven, and she pretty much went on like a spiritual journey. So Raven also implanted seeds into other several superheroes. Um, and then yeah, and then she came back later on, still evil, and pretty much in order to destroy her good self, which was, so okay, sorry. So she returned label, still eater, evil. Um, Wait, I guess they had to kill her again, the Teen Titans, to
Okay.
get rid of her evilness. Um, and yeah, so but her good Raven was in like Starfire still, so like in this new spirit body. So pretty much Raven became like a spirit who kind of wandered the earth, and the Brother Blood was back again to try to get her again, I guess. And her spirit was actually into this is so weird with all this. The spirit went back into this body of a teenage girl who was also part of a cult that was the same cult as the Brother Blood. So again, the Teen Titans rescuing again that this cult called the Church of Blood was worshippers of, guess who? Raven's father, Trigon.
Ooh.
So yeah, they also found a prophecy which told of I guess Brotherhood wanted to marry Raven. And if they got married, it would have resulted in some Armageddon stuff. So they stopped the wedding. So Raven never actually got married. And pretty much, I guess, the cult went away. And then she joined the new Teen Titans again. And then she kind of enrolled as Rachel Roth in school. So she went to high school. And then she became Rachel Roth, like
in her new teenage body.
in her new teenage body.
So this is very
Culty.
a lot of cults. Yeah, a lot of
Yes.
cults. I'm curious when this character was introduced in the comics. Was there like a first appearance or anything in your research?
Well, let's see. I don't have it up. Man, there's so much commercials. Commercial pops up on the screen.
Well, while you're taking a look at that, I did find out that Starfire's real name is Coriander.
Oh, coriander, like the spice.
But it's not spelt that way. It's spelled KORIAND''R because Starfire is
She's a princess of some sort.
Tamarianian is her species. I guess coriander. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but that's what it looks like to me.
Coriander, yeah.
Yep.
So she first appearance was in October 1980.
1980. Okay, I don't really know what was happening in 1980. If it was very culty in 1980.
Yeah.
I feel like cults
So
were
Earth
kind of
One,
a 70s
New Earth.
thing.
I don't know what Earth One would have probably been.
Don't even try and
80s,
figure
probably.
that out. I
know there's so many.
While you were talking about New Earth, and I was like, oh, let me just take a quick look and find out about New Earth. And like the article was like 18,000 bullets long, and I'm like, I don't even know where to start here.
Yep.
So we'll leave that to the experts to fill us in.
So pretty much Raven went through a hard time, I guess. But a lot of cult, I guess, because of her father, right? So
yeah, the demonic.
So
overlord.
There was they always tried to come back to get her, pretty much. And
yeah,
I guess she kept ending up in the wrong place, wrong time, right?
Wrong crowd.
Yeah. And then the Teen Titans just had to go. Let's come bail her out.
Yeah, well, it's good that she had some friends that would do that, and
yeah,
it's too bad that the Justice League were not willing to help her, but obviously she seemed to hold her own.
They don't want to deal with no, demonic stuff, I guess.
Yeah, well, I mean, she's half demon, so I could see why Zatanna might have had some concerns, but you're more than the product of your parents, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, at least at the end, she was free, and
she was no longer possessed.
Went to high school. Yep.
Yeah, her creepy demon dad was no longer possessing her, and that's got to be creepy. Like, he raped her mom, and then that's
came
awful.
Back to get her, and
I don't like that story.
Yeah. So it's just a sad story.
Yeah. So,
but you know what? In the end, it was peaceful. She got rid of him. She's free.
Yeah. All right.
Not in her own self, but someone else. But she's still there.
Yeah. Well, should we talk about her cards, Kim?
Yeah. So.
Excellent. So now that I know that we're talking about Raven, I've pulled up Raven's cards in the team builder. So Raven has 3 cards. She is from the War of Light set, and she's got a common, an uncommon, and a rare. They're all the Teen Titans affiliation, and the card stats are 0, 1, 3, 1, 2, 4, 1, 3, 5. So not like low average, I guess. Not bad on the defense.
Mm-hmm.
So the common is a 3-cost mask. The subtitle is Rachel Roth, which makes sense because that's her name. And it says, while Raven is active, if another Teen Titans character die is KO'd, you may re-roll that die. If it is a character face, return it to play. This doesn't count as fielding that die.
Okay.
So that's pretty good if you're playing a Titans team. Are there a lot of Titans? I feel like we're short on Titans.
I don't think there is much.
We can come back to that after.
Yeah, I can look.
So, but if you are playing a Titans themed team, or if there's a way to give somebody a Titans affiliation, I don't know if there is or not, because I'm not a huge DC person, and I don't have any of the War of Light set, I don't think so. So anyway, if another Titans is KO'd, you re-roll the die. Then If it is a character face, return it to play. I guess that would count for your opponent as well.
Mm-hmm.
If your opponent was playing Teen Titans, so that's interesting. All right, so the uncommon is a 4-cost mask, Trigon's heir. Again, very thematic with the Trigon being her dad, so she's his heir. When another character is KO'd, you may KO Raven. If you do, return the other character die to play. This doesn't count as fielding that die.
Interesting.
So,
Sacrificing.
yeah, she's KOing herself, right? She's sacrificing herself.
Mm-hmm.
Shouldn't use the word sacrifice though, because that's actually a game term.
Yes, it's true.
So she's KOing herself, not sacrificing herself in game terms. So she's KOing herself to protect someone else. So I guess that kind of goes with her power, right?
Yeah.
Like he's teleporting. She can send her soul self out, you said, that she can use to fight physically or manifest as a force field, manipulate objects and others with telekinesis. So it's like, oh, that person's KO'd, I'm going to pull them out of the way with my telekinesis power and replace myself in their place type thing.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool. Okay, and then the rare is Azurarth Metreon Xenoths. I don't know if I said that right, but I'm trying, with exclamation point. While active, your mask and Teen Titan characters cannot be targeted by your opponents. So that, I think, is probably a pretty good one, and I have a feeling that I've heard people talk about Rare Raven in the past, and now I understand why.
Yeah.
So if you were playing a mask team, she would be an auto include.
Yes.
Right?
In golden, yep.
Because your mask characters, like, Teen Titans, okay, whatever, but your mask characters cannot be targeted by your opponents. Like, they can't be targeted.
Yeah.
And end of story. That's a great protection card. And she's a mask, so she can't be targeted either by your opponent. That means no globals, no action dice, like anything that targets, which is a lot of things.
Yeah, pretty much anything that says target, right? You can't do anything with them.
Yeah. Now I want to pull up the target section of the rulebook. But yeah, so have you ever played with that card, Kim?
No, I haven't. I've seen it played recently, I think maybe in one of the WDAs or somewhat.
Okay. And how did that go?
Yeah, or maybe I played against it. It's hard because...
Like, how do you get it out if you can't target it?
Yeah, exactly. You can't.
I guess you'd have to do something that didn't require targeting. So, like...
Roll down, maybe?
Well, you'd still be targeting that die, I think. That's why I have to look at the targeting on the rules. I'm going to pull that up. Okay, so let's think about this. You would need to clear the board in a way that isn't targeting. So you'd need to, like, somehow, like, everything takes a damage, so it's not targeting one thing. Something to that effect. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm just looking up the rule book right now. I'm sure somebody could probably tell us about this a lot faster if we had prepared for it. But yeah, so anyway, so targeting. So she can't be targeted and your mask characters can't be targeted. That seems really powerful.
Yeah,
right?
You're pretty much stopping your opponent from doing anything, really, if they have anything that does any type of targeting.
I mean, attacking wouldn't be targeting.
No, so you would have to attack and hope they
live with combat damage or whatever.
Block and she gets KO'd and doesn't roll back or something like that, right?
Okay, targeting. I am in the X-Men Forever rulebook, page 23. When an ability affects a specific number of character dice, usually 1, or explicitly uses the term target die/dice, it is a targeting ability. Unless the ability explicitly says otherwise, only the character dice, including the sidekick character dice on their character pawn face that are in the field zone, may be targeted. The attack zone is part of the field zone, so dice there are valid targets, and any effects that count dice in the field zone will also count dice in the attack zone. Some dice will affect all dice meeting some certain criteria, such as all opposing villains, but not specify a number of dice. These are not considered to be targeting abilities. Other abilities may have each player select a number of their own dice in relation to a cost of some kind. These are also not considered to be targeting abilities. Even though they don't target, they will still only affect dice in the field zone. You may not choose to initiate an effect with no valid targets or dice to affect. Okay, so I've got an example of something that might work here, Kim, as a way to get rid of this Raven, would be Breath Weapon, because Breath Weapon doesn't target.
No.
Right? Because it does all opposing dice, right?
All opposing dice, yep.
So some abilities will affect all dice meeting some certain criteria, such as all opposing villains, or in Breath Weapon's case, all opposing dice, right? All your opposing character dice. So if you had a Breath Weapon 3, you paid the 3 energy, you do 3 damage to your opponent and 3 damage to your opponent's entire field.
Yep.
Right? So that would not be targeting.
Correct.
But range, which triggers when you attack and you deal 1 damage. So say you have range 1, each character die deals 1 damage to target opposing die. That is targeting.
Range is targeting?
I think so.
Okay.
Because you have to target a die with it, right? So I think that range is targeting. So let's go to the keywords page.
I'm just trying to see if I get... Okay, when this character attacks, all active characters with range deal damage equal to the range value to target opposing character die. Range will not work.
Nope, so you can't use range.
Yeah.
And then same thing, like if you're looking at those spin downs, they say spin target opposing die,
character, yeah.
or target character die, or target whatever die, right? KO target die.
Yeah, there was another character that I think you used to use it a lot. Songbird, that deals damage to all opposing characters, and I think there was one from WWDE that does it too.
Yeah, Songbird was that's a good point one, because I was using that when I was playing my Seething Corruption team.
Yeah.
So when you fielded her, I believe she did 2 damage to all opposing character dice. So I'd put Seething Corruption in play, and then I would field Songbird, and then all the dice would be KO'd because of the Seething Corruption, because they took damage, so that would work. But it was too expensive. I think she was a 5 cost, and I was struggling to get her. But there's also, then when I took that team and I flipped it around a little bit, and I started using Grey Hunter from do Warhammer.
Mm-hmm.
And when he was KO'd, he dealt 1 damage to all opposing character dice. So in that case, I could put the Seething Corruption in play, KO him with something like the Nihilor Global is pay a mask once per turn, KO target character die you control, and then clear your field.
Yep.
So something like that would work. But, that involves a character that does damage across the board, as well as a Seething Corruption die to make that happen. So,
I mean, is Force Block say target?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, you could use Booker T to target. Oh, no, it says target. Yeah, so anything that says target in it won't work.
No. So we would love to hear from those of you that played in the Raven days, because I believe those were a thing.
Yes.
Those crazy, crazy Raven days. And that's not the song lyrics at all. And if you could let us know like how you managed with a Raven when you couldn't target, that is really interesting. I would love to hear that.
So there's only 9 other affiliated Teen Titans. So you could make a team of Teen Titans.
9 unique ones?
Yes.
Okay.
Including Rachel, I believe. Raven.
Okay. All right. Well, so that is Raven. So which card would you play with, Kim? Would you play with the rare?
Probably. I mean, the other ones, for a 4 cost to KO and bring back the other character should be pretty good for you to be bringing back. You know what I mean?
Definitely. But that's a may. It's not a must. You get to choose.
Yeah.
Right?
When Raven, if another Teen Titan dies KO, you may re-roll that die if a character first return. So it's almost the same thing as the uncommon, except you're rolling it to see if it comes back. And you're not KOing Raven.
And the common looks like it would affect any teen character's die as opposed to yours, based on the wording.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something to consider, but it is a 3 cost. So I
Yeah,
think
I think the rare. The rare is.
I think the rare is probably your good control piece,
Hmm.
particularly if you're playing a mask team.
Yeah.
But if you're not playing a mask team and you're not looking for super crazy control, then I think the uncommon would probably be the one I would go with.
Yeah.
So you could prevent something else from being KO'd, and then by KOing her, and then you just keep rolling and fielding her. And at least her fielding costs are low because she's a 0/1/1. So
Yeah, and they did make a which is interesting. They did make a promo card of Raven,
yeah,
of the Rachel Roth one, which is interesting because usually promo, well, it's an alt art, I guess, and then they did a full art one of her as well. So
interesting,
yeah, they had two.
cool. And did you pick this because her dye is purple, Kim?
No,
Was that just a happy coincidence?
maybe.
Because Kim's favorite color is purple.
Yeah.
And I know we don't like color themes, and I 100% added that to the Facebook poll. So if you're not on Facebook's Dice Masters Unlimited page, there's currently a mini war going on between Chris and Andy of the Ministry of Dice. Hi, Chris. Hi, Andy. And they're debating what color the Ant-Man die is from the Thunderbolts team pack. And I personally logged in and added a poll option, which was color themes should be banned. Just saying. Then you don't have to argue over what color a die is.
I
Is
know.
it gray or is it blue? We don't have to argue about it because there's no such thing as a color theme. So, but this die does look purple right now. So, to me,
yeah, it's, and the thing is, you can't go by card colors either because card color and actual card color it can be different.
yeah, absolutely. And also the lighting you're in, and what time of month it is. Is it full moon or waxing moon, or daytime or nighttime, or did you turn your lights on, or are you wearing your blue light filter on your glasses? All of those things affect how colors are seen. You should wear a blue light filter on your glasses, FYI. It will really help you, unless you're doing something where color is super important. So that is my personal PSA. Okay.
Get your eyes checked, people.
That's right. Please visit your local optometrist and or optician or both.
There you go.
All right. So anything else on Raven, Kim?
No. She's
Kim, I
kind of
think
cool.
you did.
I mean,
Yeah, you did a great job.
she's a backstory's a little sad, but you know what? In the end, she was fine.
That's right. After she got her new body.
That's right.
Yeah. So yeah, great job on the research, Kim, and thank you for taking the doing the extra mile for this week's episode.
Anytime.
All right, what's next?
Do we want to do dice bag or do we want to do upcoming events?
Let's do dice bag and end with events. What do you say?
All right.
Okay. We got a lot of feedback, Kim.
Because last week's episode was crazy.
Yeah. So episode 57, if you haven't listened to it yet, we talked about all of the online hype about a certain super rare from the Dark Phoenix Saga set, aka Master Mold, which Kim has a copy of.
Yes.
And everybody seems to want it. And we chatted a little bit about what the deal was with Master Mold and why everybody's so hot for Master Mold, goo goo gaga for Master Mold.
As Kim said.
Whereas Godcatcher, which was a similar effect, was like just like horribly, put out into the community and banned, and this is awful and this card is crazy. So we got a ton of feedback. We got it from a lot of different places, as we often do. So we're going to sort of summarize all of it. I'm not going to read all of it because there's a lot to go through. So first off, from the YouTube, we heard from
everybody's favorite hero, Donnie.
Yep, for sure. So Donnie's thoughts on Godcatcher was he thinks Godcatcher was hated because it's a 3 cost, so it was super quick and it got a bad rap. He had fun with the Godcatcher, and it is fun if you're using it in like D&D sets as golden, because you can use the 4 cost mask from Toon Dwarf that when a trap triggers, you can pay 1 and prep it and then easily get a lot of Godcatchers in 4 turns. There's a lot of numbers there. I can't even tell you how many, but so I mean, I could see what you're saying. Like, it can be fun, but also it is very competitive, right? So I can see what you're saying about it getting a bad rap.
Yeah.
they're super quick and overwhelming win conditions, is what Donnie said. So, yeah, absolutely. They both are. We also heard from the Last Goonie, and the Last Goonie said, "P.S. I hate Godcatcher almost as much as Wanty." And yeah, I get it. So, and then the Last Goonie also asked, "Does Deadly remove tokens?" Pretty sure it does. And yes, Deadly would remove a token. Although to Kim's point, on a similar question that came up on our dm-north.com episode post, if the character had Overcrush, like if the Godcatcher had Overcrush against a Deadly character, the Overcrush damage would go through and then the Deadly would trigger because Deadly triggers at the end of the turn.
Yeah. So you can
So,
still get rid of it, but unfortunately, all the
yeah.
damage will go through if you put Overcrush
Yeah.
on it.
And that question was from someone called Rob. All right. We heard from our friend Chris from the Ministry of Dice, and he's got a bit of a different perspective, right, Kim?
Yes.
So he doesn't think that people are as goo goo gaga, as we said, over Master Mold as he seems. He says that the people that are really talking about this card are the minority. They're just talking about it more, so they're being heard more. The more competitively focused community members are crossing their fingers that they pull it, and were saying so before they open their boxes. Those who didn't get it are actively trying to trade for it, and those who got it are boasting about it. And that's a generalization because Kim
I was
did
gonna
not
say
boast about
I
it.
did not boast, so anybody
No, you
knows.
didn't.
I didn't even say a word.
No,
Till
you told
probably
me you got one because we asked
yeah.
what super rares you got, and then you're like, I think this is a good one, right? And I'm like, yes, this is one that's good. I heard they are going for as much as $100
Yes,
US
I
on
saw that.
eBay.
Yeah.
So, um, now Chris continues that super rare master mold is a card that holds all of its powers in a single, um, like in a single die, right? You don't need a lot of things to trigger it. You can trigger it with itself, or if you want to add the Dark Phoenix Global to ensure you can KO it. It was a flashy spoil. We've been waiting for it for a couple of years, so everyone knew it was coming. Its strength was very apparent, and he says it can make your opponents cry straight out of the box.
It's
With
funny
that,
because I don't
yeah,
remember. Well, again, I don't look at spoilers, but I don't remember that being spoiled.
yeah, it was spoiled. It was spoiled a long
Hmm.
time ago.
Okay.
I don't remember exactly when, but I feel like it was maybe at like a US convention, like maybe
Oh,
PAX
okay.
Unplugged or Gen Con, or I don't remember. I'm making stuff up now. So it's got a competitive edge as a super rare, whereas Godcatcher anyone can own. So that's one of the themes we've been hearing, right? Godcatcher was ubiquitous. Everybody has one. All you have to do is buy whatever set it came in, Adventures in Troubles in Waterdeep.
Yep.
Whatever that one was. I don't remember if it was in the campaign box or in the team pack. I think it was in the campaign box.
I think so.
So anyone could have it. So, and whereas this is a super rare, so it's more elusive, and people are trying to get their hands on one.
Yeah.
So it's got a hot cash value pull, making those that are interested in competitively more happy when they pull it. So, and then there's also people that are just wanting to pull it because they want everything, right? We've got all those collectors that are looking for every single card that are
Yeah.
out there, so they want that one. And you know, who wants to pay $100 US for a card that you just don't have in your binder? But if it's a card that's going to win you tournaments, then maybe it's something that's worthwhile.
Well, you might as well just pay the $100 because by the time you probably buy X amount of boxes to try to get it, it's probably more than $100.
Well, just think about how many other cards you could sell, though. There are some great super rares. So, and then he finally comments that if it plays as anticipated, it will probably switch off local level metas and become an informal gentleman's agreement ban in stores, or let's call it person's agreement.
I know.
Person's agreement ban in
Hmm.
stores, and will hit the list for the more casually focused online events, right? So it's not going to be something we want to see in a casual event.
Yeah, and I mean, it's funny that you're if people are like trying to chase it or trying to get it, and then it does end up being this huge bad thing, like Yanti supposedly, and it gets banned, then it's like, well, now I can't play it. And
Well,
you
I don't
just
think it's
tried
going to
to
get
chase
banned
for it,
before.
but
I don't think it's going to get banned before we have any competitive tournaments, Kim. I think we have to see
no,
how it goes.
no,
And there is an illusion, at least, that there's going to be a Worlds and a Nationals for HeroClix. So hopefully they'll be the same for Dice Masters, and we'll see.
yeah. I mean, not right away it'll get banned. I think it needs obviously play to see how it is. If
Yeah.
it is as bad as we think it is, it just might be not, next year.
Yeah. And I
Who
mean, who
knows?
knows what's coming that might help us manage this, right?
Yeah,
Maybe there's different ways. There's always a way to get past these things, right?
could
Like,
be in
you know,
kryptonite. Who knows?
super rare Wanty was super powerful when it first came out. People found a way to abuse it. And then what happened was people found a way to work around it, right? And to beat
Yeah,
it. It happened. So it
cube. Cube.
don't know. There was a reason they banned Cube. That's a Cosmic Cube. Was it Energy of the Beyonders?
Something like that.
And it said whenever there was
Rare one.
basically it was a card from Guardians of the Galaxy, I think,
Yes.
and it increased damage dealt by 2. So if you were dealing 1 damage with something, like say Infiltrate, when you attack and you're unblocked, and then you bring your dice back, you do 1 infiltrate damage per die, it would make that infiltrate damage 3.
Yeah.
Right? You have the Cosmic Cube on your attune team. Attune happens when you use a basic action, or when you use an action die, sorry. So you have a Cosmic Cube active, you use a basic action die or any other action die. Instead of dealing 1 attune damage, you deal 3 into damage. So that was pretty gross. They went a
Mm-hmm.
little too far with that one. So, and then the rest of the chat that we're going to go over here just briefly was from the A Double Double and Dice podcast convo chat, which you can find on our dmNorthTV Discord channel, which Kim will link in the show notes for us, so that you can drop in and join the chatter if you're not there already. Our friend Jordo said his biggest issue between Godcatcher and Master Mold comes down to theme. Master Mold makes perfect sense from a theme perspective. Pumping out Sentinels is what Master Mold should do. The Godcatcher is a trap that you trigger yourself. That still makes no sense. And he's not wrong.
It's true.
Why would you trigger your own trap, right?
Yeah.
Tokens are fun to play with regardless. And yeah, tokens are
Yeah.
always fun, right? But these ones are a little bit competitive. So Jackalope Spam piped up and said, if we're going with thematically, I'm not even sure the walking statues should be traps. They're the city defense system. I should read up on them before I go further. And I said, yes, please do the research for me. By the way, Nick, I haven't received that research yet, so you're past
Get on
due.
it.
And I expect a 1,000-word essay in my email address before this podcast comes out.
Homework.
Yort piped up and said Master Mold also works because the tokens are half the power of the Godcatcher. So a Godcatcher token is a 10/10, and Master Mold tokens are 5/5s.
But you can
He
pump
said,
a Master Mold token 3 times in a turn.
potentially, but
Yeah.
you know. Not to mention, he says, Master Mold himself costs twice as much, which is correct. He's a 6 cost versus a 3 cost. So while you are spamming them profusely, you still need 4 of those tokens to win, which gives your opponent time to do something. Mostly that something is just dying more slowly, but still. So, KK Simons joined into the conversation here and said Master Mold's also better because he's immune to Rogue and Moira, which are from the new Dark Phoenix Saga set, which remove action dice, continuous action dice from the field. So they can at least somewhat minimize Godcatcher craziness. And then he says, which is to say, I think he's pretty gross too. I think the camp that are excited about playing Master Mold who are disgusted with Godcatcher are the ones that have a Master Mold, whereas everyone had a Godcatcher.
Yeah.
And then he said, or maybe all enemies are friends when trying to dethrone Becky.
Becky.
Just for the global.
Indeed.
So, Shadow Meld joined in the conversation and said Master Mold has some of the same weaknesses as Godcatcher, but as a 10 to 13 power character that makes 5 to 10 more power after fielding, he's as strong as fielding 2 Godcatcher tokens in the same turn. Because as we mentioned, Master Mold creates a token when he's fielded, when he attacks, and when he's KO'd. Troy continued that Master Mold is also vulnerable to the spin down effects himself, right? So if you have a hashtag Rare Spider-Man Forever, when Spider-Man attacks, then you spin down target character die, so you could spin Master Mold down so that he can't continue doing his stuff. But the KO effect does give him a nice boost in efficiency, and also Draxable and Typhoid Mariable on the Master Mold. So again, a little bit easier to manage potentially for your opponent. There's also Emma Frost from the new set. Manipulative, I think, is the uncommon, that when your opponent triggers an attack step, you can re-roll target character die before the attack step starts. So Collector Rob joined in here and said the super rare exclusivity of the Master Mold means that it just seems fairer to play against. You were lucky enough to pull it, so fair play, go for it.
Nice.
So, and Jackalope Span agreed to disagree by saying he can see the argument going exact the other way. If Master Mold were obviously better and a super rare that's annoying to chase, at least with Godcatcher, everyone can have one. And we ended that with, but the fact that one is freely available means that you don't have to chase the super rare. Godcatcher is arguably still better than Master Mold. So where did we land on this, Kim? I think
it's a tie.
Yeah, I think we landed with we don't know.
No.
But both are gross.
Yeah.
If you're lucky enough to pull a Master Mold, some people are like, yeah, play it. Other people are like, nah, I don't know. So I think we've got the vocal folks here with and without Master Molds that have brought forward all of these ideas, and I think we're going to have to wait and see how he plays in tournament play. Wouldn't you say, Kim?
Yeah, I think we can't, well, we can say and speculate, but I think we have to see it in action.
Yeah. And we did get an email from Andy May, which had some information in it that I haven't had a chance to reply to him yet, but by the time this episode comes out, I will have replied to your email, Andy. So thank you for letting us know that it was a great episode, and we're glad that you enjoyed it. And if you did work on that secret project that you told us about, we'd love to hear what your results were. So if that pans out, then we will talk about that on a future episode.
Yeah.
So, shall we talk about events, Kim?
Oh, yeah, what's coming up? Let's do weekly first. Weekly Dice Arena happens Tuesday nights at 9 o'clock, hosted by dmNorthTV. And Thursdays at 4 o'clock Eastern is Dice Fight, hosted by the DM United. And that's run through Discord. And then they have a channel there that you can look at formats and all that stuff. Dice Social is happening this month, Saturday the 23rd. And we're doing something a little not Dice Socially because it's not traditional, but we'll be practicing for the next tournament that's coming up, and that is the 2-Team Takedown. So 2-Team Takedown is back. It's going to start on May 2nd, Monday, May 2nd. All details can be found on the website, dm-north.com. And you can read everything there. It's a fun tournament. Come and play if you're just learning. It's a great way to learn. It is full-on competitive. There is 0 bans. So let's see if we see any Master Molds come up.
Play your Master Mold. Play your Godcatcher.
Play your Godcatcher. See what happens. See what's going on. Not if you played in the last one, there hasn't been much format changes, or anything like that. It's modern, go for it, all out. We changed some time, but other than that, you have until the 27th of April. That's when teams are due, so sign up quick. That's 2 weeks away.
Yep.
By the time we were recording this episode, it's 2 weeks away. And so we have about 20 people signed up. We're capping it at 32, so make sure that you get signed up and start building those teams. So we're practicing that in Dice Social and next week in Weekly Dice Arena, so you can practice your teams.
Cool. And I think the one big change that was made around this 2-Team Takedown is that after the second round, you can choose to change out one card on your team.
Yes. All players can change one card each on their team, so that's at the end of round 2. Yeah.
Yeah, so if you're finding that your team isn't working quite the way you thought it would, or perhaps you weren't teched exactly the way you need to, there is a way that you can swap out one card per team. So check all of the details on dm-north.com for that, because I think it's an interesting twist, and we'll see what that does.
Yeah. So yes, do read through this. I know it's going to be a lot, but yeah, do read through it. And if you have any questions, you can join our dmNorthTV Discord, and you can ask all your questions there.
Sounds good.
And I think that's it all for our events.
All right, so then I think that's all for this episode, Kim.
Woo!
So thanks again for putting together the research and taking us through that. And if you want to explain to us how you got around Rare Raven when Raven was around, you can find us in all of these places. You can send us an email to tripledpodcast@dm-north.com. You can leave a comment on our episode post on dm-north.com. You can find us on all the socials, the Facebook, the Instagram, the Twitter. We're on the
Mm-hmm.
Twitter. And you can also find us on Discord. You can at JoceStitch, that's me, JOCE Stitch. You can at Super K. You can join the dmNorthTV Discord. You can join the Dice Masters Online Discord, which are some of the channels that we referenced in the episode today. So all of those links will be in the show notes. So until next time, on a double and dice.